Okay, hello everyone. Thank you for this good opportunity. First of all, I wanna say sorry because maybe my article is so specifically in Quranic studies. So I think maybe there's a lot of word that you can say it perfectly, but it's okay. Uh, okay. Uh, I wanna share my idea about mapping the predominance of Torik Asyatibiyah in the Qiraat transmission and pedagogy in Indonesia, tracing manuscript and literacy. So, um, first I wanna bring you to an analogy. Oh, sorry, is this the second one I sent?
Yeah, I call the second one. Is it also related?
Okay, it's okay, never mind. Okay, do you know, have you ever hear about Abraham Lincoln? Yeah.
Of course.
Abraham Lincoln is the 16th president of America, right? So he's a symbol of anti-racism in America. And so many intellectuals learn about his talk. And now I want to bring you to the one intellectual of Islam. It's named Asyatibiyah. Asyatibi is full name Al Qasim bin Firruh. Was born in Andalusia, Asyatibi city. So that's why he called by Asyatibi. Okay, he was born blind, has four works, and the most popular is Asyatibiyah. It's a book, matan, or like a poem, putri, has 1173 poems. Okay, before we go into the main discussion, I wanna share you about what is Qiraat science. So the Qiraat science is the discipline concerned with understanding the methods of pronouncing the words of the Quran and the variations among them, and transmitted through their respective narrators. So in the Quran, there is a lot of words that have one or two or three variation to pronouncing. Sometimes there is an impact of them, and sometimes no. Okay, like the example nun shiruha, I show you just two examples, nun shiruha and nun shizuha. Nun shiruha is derived from the root nun, shin, and ro in Arabic. So the second we can read by nun shizuha, derived from the root nun, shin, and zai. So is there an impact? Yes. And the second example is wabil yaumil akhirati. It's the first variant to say it, wabil yaumil akhirati, and the second one is wabil yaumil akhirati. It's different sound, different phonetic, but it's nothing impact in the meaning. Okay, we don't talk deep in this variant. I just wanna tell you about the learning, about the method of learning Qiraat in Indonesia. Okay, first the key term that maybe can bring you to understand what I mean. First, you have to know what is Qiraat, or you can say it like a variance. Okay, like variance. Okay, and Qiraat is the first layer. So the second layer is riwayat. So the riwayat is the transmission of an imam. Imam is like a professor, like a doctor. The transmission of the imam reading through two principal narrators functioning to stabilize and codify variant readings within a Qiraat, within a variant. So the third layer is story, or we can say it method or pathway. A third-tier transmission pathway derived from the student of the narrator, detailing the technical and phonetic specification of the particular recitation style. So, in Indonesia, we use a method Asyatibiyah. This is the book. So, like what I said, that the book being a method, being a pathway to reciting the Quran in Indonesia. So, as we know, Indonesia is the biggest Muslim population in the Asia, right? So why only one transmission pathway that used for Quranic recitation in institutionally in Indonesia? It's my research question. And in this study, I used hegemony Gramscian framework, naturalized dominance of Shatibiyah across all institutional, textual, and regulatory dimension of Indonesian Quranic education, and also concern voluntary adoption by scholars, institutions, and students, not forced, but internalized as the only correct standard. So the finding, my first finding, we can say it a bottleneck about sanad and transmission architecture, because one Tariq survives institutionally out of multiple valid options, and one pesantren on 5 pesantren, or we can say it Islamic boarding school, all trace back to the same Asyatibiyah method pathway sanad chain in Indonesia, and 100% of LPMQ approved, because LPMQ is an organization in Religion Ministry of Indonesia. Yeah, in LPMQ, Mushaf or Al-Quran use Asyatibiyah pathway as the normative framework. As you can see, this is the picture of the sanad or of the transmission that from our Prophet Nabi Muhammad. This is our Prophet, and until the student that get the sanad, that get the transmission legal. Okay, the finding number two is Mushaf publication and pedagogical literature in Indonesia. All of them use the Shatibiyah method. Like this one is published by LPMQ, and this one published by NGO, and also this one is the book, guidebooks in Institute for Quranic Studies. It's used to in PTIQ and UIN and the other Islamic university in Indonesia. So the finding number three is institutional dominance and digital spaces that make a dominance of this pathway, because like a pesantren or Islamic boarding school, and also Islamic universities like what I said, to universities and other, and also the digital platform, they are use Asyatibiyah in their learning, in their recitation of the Quran. And also, in this morning we have heard the recitation of Quran from our sister Siti Eva Zulfa. She also reciting the Quran with the Shatibiyah method. Okay, so this is all of my findings. It's have the three reasons of why only one Tariq, only one pathway that exists in Indonesia. But the myth of natural dominance. Shatibiyah dominance is not to the inevitable result of superior pedagogy. It is the product of institutional consolidation, regulatory power, and the strategic work of organic intellectuals. And the second, state as hegemonic apparatus, like LPMQ standardization system did not only regulate, it actively produced and enforced an epistemic monopoly in the name of authenticity and correctness. And alternative alternative pathway, alternative methods were silent in Indonesia. Manuscript evidence confirmed that there is other pathway. His name is Ad-Durrah Al-Mudiyah and At-Tayyibah were once present in the Nusantara in the Indonesia tradition. They were not defeated intellectually. They only were structurally excluded. So I critique that the hegemony is untotal in Indonesia because there is the non-Ashatibiyah practice still alive in some people or some intellectuals. Okay, the conclusion of this study is yes, hegemony is confirmed, but it's untotal hegemony. So Tariq Ashatibiyah dominance is a full Gramscian hegemony produced through Sanat networks, state regulation, organic intellectuals, and the manufacturing of consent. But there is a benefit from this. The standardization facilities pedagogical, coherence, textual consistency, and efficient transmission across Indonesia's geographically dispersed Muslim communities. And epistemic cost is real. The absence of the alternative methods from formal curricula improvised Indonesia's Quranic tradition. And the last is counter hegemony emerging because the digital platform and the independent learning communities are creating the first institutional cracks. It's what I found. Okay, thank you.